Hello everyone, April Starks here with April Starks Beauty. Welcome to my channel. For this video, I am using all Farmasi products with the exception of the eyeshadow. The eyeshadow, I'm using the Jaclyn Hill Volume II palette. And so, as you can see, I'm using pinks, purples, oranges, colors I have not worn since I was young, in like my early 20s. So, I got into this comfort zone of wearing nothing but nudes and neutrals because I felt like I was a woman of a certain age and I needed to only be wearing those colors. But as you can see, they complement my face beautifully. I absolutely love these colors. I feel like they just brighten me up, along with the tips and tricks that I show you throughout my video to make my skin look absolutely flawless and younger. So if you want to see how I got this look, then continue watching this video. Okay, so let's get to it. I'm going to use my we're going to use our Aloe cream by Farmasi just to moisturize the face prior to any makeup application. I don't put a ton on, just enough to give me a nice layer of moisture. And now we're going to use the BFFS Pro Camera Ready Primer in Strobe. This is one of two face primers that we have, and this one is the cream based. It's like an illuminating primer, and I am in love with this stuff. It's amazing. Alright, so that part is done. And now I'm going to use our eyeshadow primer. Just to cover up that discoloration. Like if you can see on this eye, I have a lot of darkness on my actual eyelid. So in order to brighten up my eyeshadow, I use an eyeshadow primer. I feel like it is a must. And it just makes your eyeshadow last so much longer. Look, see the difference? And that just takes away that discoloration. And then I get some darkness right in here, and then where I wear glasses. So a lot of the times I'll take that primer and I'll just go in, because the coverage on it's amazing. And I'll just go in and get that all covered up. And anything that I'm using, I will post in the comments below. Alright, now we're going to use some soft orange. This is our full coverage concealer, and I just want to get that right underneath the eye here where I have some darkness, and we're going to get that all taken away. I do these steps before I do my eyeshadow, for the simple fact that I want it to set really well before I apply any type of foundation or anything. So okay, so we're ready to do some eyeshadow. I'm going to use the Jaclyn Hill palette. This is the Volume II palette. So this is the one I'm using along with my Farmasi products. So let's get to popping. So I'm going to use Certified. I'm going to use this shade right here, Certified. And we're just going to put it all over the lid. Now we're going to go in and we're going to use, I think, Lolly Mama. I think we're going to use Lolly Mama right here. Make sure you get any excess off of there. And we're going to go ahead and put that in as the transition shade. This eye is a little bit more wrinkly and hooded than the other eye, so I give it a little tug when I'm doing this. Just to make sure it's nice and smooth. So if you feel like you have hooded eyes or you have wrinkly eyes, that's okay. First of all, the primer is going to help. It does not settle in any creases or fine lines, so it really helps your eyeshadow stay on top. And doesn't settle. But you also want to make sure it's nice and smooth. I'm just swirling that around right in there. Now I'm going to go in and just blend a little bit. Alright, so now we're going to go in and grab, I don't know what shade that is, Therapy Sesh. Therapy Sesh, right here. And I'm going in with a little smaller brush than what I used for my transition. And I'm just bringing that in there. going in with that pink. I'm not adding anything else to it, but I want to blend those two together real nicely. Okay, so now, I don't know where that particular brush is. I need my detail brush. Y'all ever just can't find your brushes? Because I do that quite often. And I don't know what brushes I want to use. I'm going to use this one. Okay, so now we're going to go in and use the flat brush. And we're going to use Feeling Myself. We're going to use Feeling Myself. I love these oranges. I don't know what it is that I have just gotten on this kick for doing like orange shadow looks. I'm just digging them. Thing over here. Really want to make sure I have a lot of color there. As much as I like this palette, I feel like there's so much fallout with it, so I'm like trying to really make sure that I'm getting everything off my brush. So I can minimize that some. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go in and we're going to grab the shade Not My Journey. Right there. And we're going to carve out, starting here, going like in a C shape, just, and then bring it into that corner. And I'm using a really dense brush. It is the I think it's Morphe 431. It's the brush I'm using for this. So now I'm just going to take, without anything else, I'm just going to blend that outward into my other shadows. And this is the one I had the purple on. We're just blending. Nobody tells you like how much blending you have to do. You totally, especially if you're using several colors, you definitely want to make sure that you're blending, or it's just going to look all really separated, and you don't want to do that. You want to actually have them all put together. I think that's the most tedious part when doing this. Now I'm going to add a little bit more of that lighter purple and just kind of get it right in here. I'm digging it, y'all. How great is this? It's so pretty. So pretty. You wouldn't think to use like purple with orange. At least I wouldn't. But I love this look. Now I'm going to use another, this is just a clean and just barely touching over top of the eye, just to make sure everything's blended out. See, and you can see where it pulls a little bit, but not a lot. Just want to make sure it's blended, right? And I do still want to see a little bit of a line there. I want to see a little bit of that separation of the purple, but I don't want a ton. So I just want to make sure that I've blended it to the point that I want it. That's exactly where I think I want it. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and I'm going to grab that orange And I'm actually going to use my Time Locker setting spray. And I'm going to pick up a little bit more of that orange, and we're just going to clean that up. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and do the brow on this side, and then I'll move to this eye and just speed through that. So let's go ahead and get the brows done on this other eye, and then we'll move right along. Okay, so what I'm using is our Farmasi pomades, and this is in brown and dark brown. I like to use a mixture of both shades just because it gives me the perfect eyebrow color that I'm shooting for. So, and when doing this, and I have decent brows, you start not all the way to the beginning, okay? I do a quarter of the ways back, and you're going to trace outside your normal brow line. And I know everybody has their own like tips and tricks for this, but I feel like it gives the cleanest look when you're doing it this way. And my brows are growing back from years of plucking, and so I have some areas that are not as thick as the other areas, so I want to make sure that, so by doing it this way, I'm making sure that my brows are both going to be shaped the same. And y'all don't mind my nails, by the way. I'm in the middle of like taking them off. You know, this whole quarantine thing, it's got me shook as far as my nail game. Okay, so you've seen I have those, or this brow already lined out. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to grab my brow powder. And that's what I'm going to use to fill my brow. Make sure I got the right colors. Yes. Okay, and what I use for this is I use two different shades. I use shade 01 and 02. And this is also Farmasi. And I just dip my brush in each one, tap off, and then I go in and fill in with this powder. It's like coloring in between the lines, right? And then if you're not sure, like if you think you've put on a little too much anywhere, you can go in with your spoolie and definitely like take off any excess if you feel like you had too much. All right, let's grab the pomade a little bit more. Exactly where I want it. Perfect. Look at the difference, y'all. It is like I just got an instant eye lift. I'm real big on doing brows. So, you know, if you're not doing your brows, you should be. It definitely makes a world of difference, especially for women of age. I feel like it just totally takes off years. This is our transparent brow mascara. And then after my brows are done, I can always go back, which is what I typically like to do, is I'll go back and look and see if there's any other work that needs done. Just kind of blending, just a little bit of extra blending in there. Told you, blending is like the biggest process of this whole thing, especially when you're doing different looks. So, and I feel like I don't get the big picture until my brows are done. Okay. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to the other eye, get it done, and then we can move on to foundation. Okay, guys, so we are ready to get started on foundation. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to take out any fallout that I might have occurred. I tried to minimize that, but it's so hard with this Jaclyn Hill palette. There is a lot of fallout. So let's go in and get... All right. Okay, so let's get to starting on the foundation. So I'm using shade 01 in the BFFS Camera Ready foundation. This foundation, y'all, is life. I have used so many different foundations, and it wasn't until this one and the age reverses skincare regimen that I've been using with Farmasi that my skin took a total transformation. This stuff is absolutely flawless. I do not need to use any filters with any of my selfies, which is awesome because I used to never take a good selfie. And now it's very rarely that I find one that I don't like. And on top of that, I don't have to use a filter. So, okay, this is my stippling brush. I am just patting it, spreading it out. And this is going to oxidize, so you may be looking at it thinking, okay, totally not the right color. It is. Trust. And now I'm going to use my buffer brush. Now under the eyes, I just tap, pat, tap, whatever word you want to use. Because I don't want to disturb that soft orange that I had already put under there. So look at this coverage, y'all. It is just phenomenal. And it is a full coverage. This is one of 7 different foundations that we have. But it is by far my favorite. Got a hair. And now we can go ahead and get this foundation off my lips. And my lip color back. Okay, so now we can contour, my favorite part. I use a contour stick. I absolutely am like blown away by this contour stick. It is like the best thing in the world. So I'm going to go in and we're going to get contouring. It's super easy to use. And I strategically place it where I want to create shadows, y'all. It's all about the shadows. And where is my brush? There it is. brush. So we're just going to blend outward. This also takes off years. Like, it gives me cheeks that I typically don't have without contouring. I'm telling you, it is like a woman of my age. This is like my best friend. I promise. Because you will see how, I promise you, like how much it takes off. Years. Because we lose elasticity on our face as we age. Actually, once you start turning 25, you start to lose elasticity. So, good skincare regimen. That gives a shadow right there, so it hides that. Good skincare regimen and a great makeup makes all the difference in the world. And learning those little tips and tricks. So you just want to make sure that you're totally blended out, y'all. So when you're doing this, make sure you're blended. Okay, now I'm going to use a smaller contour brush just to go in and blend this out at the nose. And this just gives the appearance that my nose is just a little bit smaller than what it actually is. Just make sure you're blended. Okay, so now we're going to get light ivory and we're going to brighten things up. Because at this point, we've got all of our makeup on and now I need some brightening. So I'm going to go in and we're going to brighten up right up underneath of these eyes. And this is our full coverage concealer. And I am using the shade Light Ivory because it is much lighter than my normal foundation. You want to be at least a shade or two lighter than your normal foundation color. And wherever you feel like you want brightened is where you're going to put the concealer. And through here, I basically just tap. And I'm manipulating it where I want it to be. And as I go down into my contour, because you're going to go into your contour, I feather it out. So towards the edges and into my contour, I feather it out. And so now I want to brighten where I darkened in here. I want to brighten that. So I'm going to take that in there as well. and I just feather it. Now when you're doing this down the nose, if you're brightening up down the nose, you want to stay in a straight line. Otherwise, it will totally make you look like you have a crooked nose, and you don't want that, right? And then again, you feather into the contour. So now I'm going to get another spot. I almost forgot. So now I'm going to get my bronzer. And you're going to do in the shape of a W. That's where the sun naturally hits your face. So, and you put that right above where you did your contour. And I put it right up here across the forehead. Just lightly. Like, I'm not putting a ton. Totally just putting a very little bit. And I can see if I need any more blending done here on the nose. And now I'm going to use my color correcting. I also use this as a setting powder. This is my BeFit, Farmasi BeFit powder. And I love this to just like do light setting right underneath the eye. And I just pat real lightly. Any place that I put that contour or that highlight is where I'm going to put this. All right, so we're ready for blush. Didn't pick out a blush yet. I don't know what color I want to use. I think I want to go with Fresh Peach. This is shade 17. It is one of my favorites. So I think we're going to go with this shade. Okay, you're going to tap whenever you, total tip, whenever you're getting in your blush, you'll notice that it gets concentrated in certain areas. Tap that off and then swirl it around on your lid. And then tap it on. And I tap, I do not like rub it. So that way you get exactly how much you want. And you can totally keep it controlled. Right? And I'm going to get that BeFit powder back out. And I'm going to take a look at these eyes one more time, just to be sure that I have exactly where I want stuff. And then we're going to pull some color underneath. So basically you're going to use the same colors that you used on your lid. And you're going to drag those colors underneath. I use the darker on the outer portion. And then I smudge it through real lightly. Oh, allergy time. I always start watering. No. You don't want eyes to water. This is real life, y'all. So we're going to give that eye a minute because I do not want it to start watering. Okay, let's get it to start. Okay, so let's go in and get that pink. Still just being a little funky, so we're going to leave it alone for a minute. And we're going to hop over to liner. Okay, I'm using our gel liner and my Sigma brush, if I can find it, because it was right here in front of me. Well, it was in front of me, y'all. I promise. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, I know where it's at. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. So we're going to go in. Give some liner. And I'm staying really super close to my lash line. Make sure on the flat part. Okay. I just have to make sure I'm going on the flat side. And then I'm going to use my white liner. It's over here. And I use it to brighten up the inside of my eye. I have teeny tiny eyes, and this is such a great trick to just brighten up the inside of the eye. And now we're going to use Zen. This is our Zen mascara. I love this mascara. It's probably by far the best mascara I've ever used, and it's the one that I love the most. If you can see that, you get the bristles on the top here that are longer, and they're super close together so it doesn't clump your lashes. But then underneath, there's really tiny bristles, and those bristles I love for my bottom lashes. So, and all I'm doing is just putting on a very light coat, just starting at the base of my lashes and pulling up. And we're going to do, and that's so I can put on my falsies. I think I need a new one. All right, so now we're ready for lashes, y'all. Totally can't see, by the way. I hate putting glue on lashes. It's like the worst part, just because I can't see. I think I'm on there good. I guess we'll find out when I go to put them on, huh? We'll see. While I'm waiting, I'm going to go ahead and get my lip liner started. I'm using shade 223. As a mom, I'm a multitasker, so I'm waiting for my lash glue to dry. While I'm lining lips. Okay, this should be good. So let's see. We'll find out. Oh, isn't that pretty, y'all? Love these lashes. Love them. I love them. Yes. Love, love, love. Okay, now I'm going to get my Zen. And we're going to go right underneath, get these bottom lashes. All right, let's get the other side done. And while we're waiting, we're going to go ahead and do lips. So I am using this is our matte liquid lipstick in Autumn Story. Love this color, y'all. Look at this. Isn't that pretty? Look how pretty that is. Love it. This seriously will last you 8 to 10 hours. Easy. Depending on how much you eat and drink. But I eat and drink a lot, y'all. So trust me, this stuff is good stuff. Okay, so we're ready for the other lash. Let's get that on. Yes. Love, love, love these lashes. So now I'm just kind of pushing them together. And we need the Zen on the other side. Okay, y'all. So now we need a little bit of, let me see what I didn't add any more bronzer. I'm just using what's left on the brush. And we're going to go highlight. So let's use the Farmasi highlight palette. This is the 3-in-1. Oh, no, wrong one. That's the 3-in-1. I want the highlight palette. So this is the highlight palette. And so we're going to go with the shade right here. I'm just going to use my fingers. Look how pretty, y'all. Isn't that pretty? And I'm just tapping lightly. That way I can control how much I'm putting on. Isn't it gorgeous? I mean, this is like by far the most pretty highlight palette. And then I'm going to put a little bit of Time Locker. And we're going to get a little bit on the brush so we can get right underneath of this brow. Look at that, y'all. That's so pretty. So, so pretty. Alright, now we can use our setting spray. And this is Time Locker by Farmasi. Alright, y'all. Yeah, I'm digging this. I'm really digging this. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning into my channel and watching my video. I greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, do it now and hit the little bell beside it so you get notified when I upload a new video, which is typically every Friday. All right, guys, thank you so much. See ya. Bye.